Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome to this evening's Thursday night book club. So, my name is Zindika, and I am an author, speaker, teacher, meditation, mindfulness practitioner, specializing in EFT, energy balancing, and meditation. Yes. So I'm also the host of Thursday Night Book Club for the MNPC Mindfulness Network for People of Color. So once again, welcome to the Thursday Night Book Club. And also I'd say if you have missed any of the Thursday Night Book Clubs, any from our previous guests, you can watch these on our YouTube channel for MNPC. You'll find them all there. So you can catch up if you've missed any of our previous guests. So this evening, we are here with our special guest this evening, is Peter. And of course, we will speak to Peter shortly. Good evening, Peter. So your sound, Peter, you're on mute.
Hi,
okay,
good evening.
Good evening once again, Peter.
Hi, good evening, Zindika, and thank you once again for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, so before we speak with Peter, we're going to start with a moment of calm, as we always do with the Thursday Night Book Club. We always gather our thoughts so that we are open to receiving, whether you're seeing this with us live or whether you see this later on the channel, the YouTube channel. So yes, and we're going to be receiving Peter's book as well. He'll be sharing with us information from his book and talking about it. But before we do that, I'm going to start with a opening meditation, and also Peter will also close with a meditation as well when we come to the end of the session. So let's just briefly connect by just taking a moment to be still. And I'm going to just demonstrate a mindfulness practice with the hands. And it really is a practice whereby I'll just make sure I get my hands up there. You're just going to briefly circulate the hands. And as you do so, you just drop into moments of stillness and also just really feel into the connection of the hands together and just see how they feel. So as you do, just breathe in slowly into and just really tune into the experience with the breath. And as you do that, just think about what it feels like. What does it feel like? Just follow the hands slowly. You can really slow this down as much as you want to, because as you slow down, you'll have a different experience. And it's a mindfulness practice because it's very rare that we do this. And I actually discovered this by accident, when I was washing my hands, because it's a good time to do this when you're washing your hands. Instead of rushing, you can really just slow down the process of hand washing and take in a mindful moment and really relax and breathe with the breath. Bringing in some calm and peace and some relaxation. And as you do that, maybe you could allow yourself to just observe your thoughts, allowing them just to calm down. Really sense into your own being, allowing the tension melt away, particularly tension that we tend to get in the shoulders and the hands. Just allowing that to melt away, and also just allowing the mind to just calm down. And very soon, all of that movement within will settle, and just tell yourself, be calm and open and relax for this evening's presentation. And just breathe. And as you breathe, just smile as well. A smile. And to allow everything to be calm. And just be in the moment. So right now we just breathe, smile, and be in the present moment. Be here. Be now. And let's just breathe in and then breathe out with a little sigh. As we come back to the space, back feeling calmer. And of course, if you're watching this later, follow along with the practice. And yes, we're going to continue now with this evening's guest and presentation. Yes, so welcome again, Peter. Yeah, Peter, I was really looking forward to this interview with you, because I was really excited to find out, it's not often that we hear from, single dads, so I was thinking, wow, really looking forward to this to find out, what it is that you're going to have to say about that experience and just find out about that experience, But before you do that, let me just say a few things about what you have said in your bio as you come onto this platform. So you said, Peter is an author, a singer-songwriter based in Ipswich, United Kingdom. In his first published book, Go Get Summa Dat, he describes scenes or episodes of his life from which he learned valuable lessons. So his latest book is Single Dads, You've Got This. It is once again a self-help motivational book, but it focuses firmly on issues very close to his heart, single fatherhood. So, according to Peter, this is the type of book he wished he had read 20 years ago so that he would not have made some of the costly mistakes that he made. So what's so exciting about this, Peter, is first of all, you're such a multi-talented person, and we love multi-talented people on here, yeah?
Thank you.
The great thing about the book is you said it's learning, isn't it? It's all about, we all make mistakes, but the main thing is not the mistake, but that we learn from it. So really excited to hear about some of that. So just adding a little bit more about, I'm telling you that Peter's multi-talented. So he's also a keen runner with several medals and he's a property investor. The book is also laced with lots of running stories and real estate tips. Wow. So Peter recently collaborated and contributed 4 chapters to the book Diamond Diaries, which was published on May 21st, 2022. Diamond Diaries is a book full of inspiring stories and some soul-stirring poetry, and this book is available on Amazon. So, Peter, that all sounds really great. So let's start with the question. Tell us, of course, more about your book and what you've learned and why you think that sharing this book is so necessary and why you felt the need to share it, your experiences in a book.
Okay, first of all, Zindika, I just want to thank you so much. And that meditation was so great. It just made me so conscious of my hands. Like you just mentioned, it's something that you never really notice. So I kind of always thought my hands are very, very smooth, but just noticing the grooves and everything. So just shows that we're always learning all the time. And so similar with the book that I wrote, single dads, you've got this. For me, it was about knowing that we're always learning all the time. You know, we think that sometimes we at a space, like we constantly set goals for ourselves. And then you think, oh yeah, and I'm getting there. And then something happens, something smacks us in the face, call it life. And then we go through those challenges, and if we're successful, then we learn something new about ourselves. We learn that, oh, we are actually resilient. We can achieve certain things. We can overcome certain things. So that's the reason why I had to write this book, because like nobody plans to be a single dad, you know, because growing up, I didn't know many single dads. I was just thinking about it the other day. The only single fathers I knew were some of my friends, you know, when I was growing up. They and they were not even like real single dads. I mean, they were like part-time single dads in that they'd look after the kids sometimes over the weekend or on holidays, you know, but never like full-time single parents. And so when I became a single father, and I then became aware that there are actually some other people who are also single fathers. And looking at the statistics, it's growing, because I think there was research that was done, like in 2022 in the United States, there was about 1.2 million, and it's actually just Black single fathers. And that has actually grown because in 1990, there was about 472,000. So in just from 1990 to 2022, the number almost is 3 times as much. And then in South Africa, where my roots are from, find that fathers mostly are labeled as, most fathers are labeled as deadbeat, because most houses, it's like 60% of families are fatherless. And so the narrative everywhere else is like, oh, single mother is struggling, a single mother that's, you know, having a hard time raising children. And it's true, because being a single parent, a single mother is hard work. And, you know, so I really appreciate all the other single mothers out there who are doing that, because being a single father, I've seen it. But then the single father, they're kind of like marginalized, you know, nobody really talks much about them, because it's like nobody knows much about them. So I thought maybe I should talk about it. And because there are single fathers, and it just shows that number is growing. And so for people to know that you're not alone. That's why the subtitle is Single Dad, You've Got This. You know, you've got this, you're not alone. It's possible to overcome the challenges that we will face.
Okay, Peter, thank you for that. So one of the things I was wondering, and you mentioned single moms, which more of us are more aware of, and we know about a lot more about them. But what would you say is maybe a couple of main differences that you would say a single dad may experience different to say a single mom, that there's certain more pressures on them, or do you think there's you know, anything that you might say that's specific to being a single dad?
Yeah. Because a single dad, normally that is so, it's something that's not normal. And so when one becomes one, the pressure really is that, firstly, there's a social pressure. People look at you different. You're like, there's just so many questions. Like, where's the mother? What's wrong? This guy's odd. Why is he always with the children? Where, you know? And doing some of those, it takes a real a mindset shift, because thank goodness I was when I was brought up with like 3 boys and 1 girl. So my sister didn't do all the chores in the house, just like shared amongst us. So from an early age, I left the house when I was 19. By the time I left, I could cook, I could do laundry, I could do a lot of stuff. But for most, men, if they become single fathers later on, and because, I mean, that could become as a result of relationships falling apart or maybe spouse dying. But you find some guys probably can't even boil an egg, you know? And so that becomes difficult. They'll have to start learning. They have to, because not only do you have to look after yourself, but you've got to look after your children too. And you've got to learn how to do the household chores and iron the clothes, get them ready for school. And so that's where I think the big difference is. And also in terms of some government organizations, like most of the benefits are mostly like for single mothers. So, but in this country, I think it is single fathers can access other benefits too. Because when I became one, I was told, oh, you know, you can be a stay-at-home dad. But I'm thinking like in other countries, like maybe in Africa or other third world countries, they may not have these kind of facilities for fathers. Like I think in South Africa, they don't have that. So they now have trouble accessing all these other benefits, these social grants that could be available to mothers, because people will always look kindly upon the single mother. Whereas for the father, it's like, wait a minute, you're a man, you know, you should be expected to provide. But at the same time, what I found out in my case was going out and providing, working full time, was you got to pay somebody to look after the kids. You got to have a childminder, or you know, au pair, or somebody. You know, you always have to pay for that care. So those kind of, I think those are some of the big differences.
Yeah. Oh, yes, Peter. So I was just thinking as well about the facilities, you know, that are available. How hard that must be. How did you find that? You know, the fact that if dads are looking after children, you go to most places, it's all moms. So
Yeah,
did you find that challenge in terms of, you know, finding space for where men were welcome?
yeah. It had to, this way like mindfulness came into, because I then had to become mindful and look at the situation and say to myself, okay, you got to change the way you think. And because I was always somebody that never was always conscious of how people think about me, you know, was always what people thought of me mattered a lot. So I had to change and think, you know, this is not for me anymore. It's the children that come first. So I have to just do what's best for them. I have to go to these places. It was odd at first. I'm the only man amongst all these women. And I'm the only, even when it's like school trips, I'm the only father there all the time. And, you know, it did look weird, I think. And some people wouldn't ask questions, but they would look at me funny. But obviously then, you know, they do start suspecting, okay, something's not normal here. You know, it's not right. But then it's just always knowing that other people's opinion doesn't define who you are. And I used to watch lots of, you know, those cartoons with my children. So watching The Lion King, and that where Mufasa says to Simba, it's like in a dream, he says, Simba, you are more than what you have become. That line just made me think, yes, right now I'm in this situation, but I am more than this. This situation will pass. And so even when I started becoming more mindful, knowing that nothing is permanent, things will change. The situation was that at that moment, that's how it was. But knowing it's going to get better, it will get better. And yes, I'm now in this place where there's lots of, it's weird. Sometimes many times I didn't even know certain events were happening, because sometimes events is like, you know, like when you're a single father, sometimes you don't get invited to some events because women normally arrange these things amongst themselves. So it'll be mothers talking to other mothers. And so you don't know until your children don't get to go to those social events. So yeah, it's a bit difficult. It was difficult.
Yes, I can imagine it really was. Yeah. Yes. So yeah. So I was going to ask you, Peter, about the writing process, how did you find that? I mean, you know, in actually putting a book like this together, was it easy or hard, or did you face any challenges with getting your book written and completed?
No, I just found it, thinking about it was hard. Thinking about, oh, what am I gonna write? What am I, and then, oh, what should I leave out? Because I thought I just, being somebody that's always very, uh, likes to keep things personal, because as a single father, that's what happens to you. You know, you don't want to like elicit pity from other people, or you think, you know, I'm getting through this myself. I will get through this, and I don't want to just reveal too much. But in the end, I thought I want to be honest, write as much as about what has happened to me, because it will help somebody. And when I started writing, it just started coming out. I told myself I'm going to write a chapter every single day. Every morning, I'm going to write a chapter. And I started just writing. I just play some music. I do meditation first, and I play some soft jazz or classical music, and I just start writing and writing and writing and writing. And then it's, wow, it's written so much, and I had to cut down. But
Okay, sounds as if you had a process there. You knew what, you know, that you were doing.
every morning, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And what about the idea behind the book? How did that, you know, how did you get started, you know, on the idea?
The idea was when it's like I noticed lots of people were going through this process. I mean, of people becoming, just as, around the period of the pandemic, and relationships were breaking. Lots of, you know, some people I was knowing who were like in relationships, and all of a sudden I'm seeing, wow, they follow. I mean, they broken up now, and sometimes with children involved, and these people are now like single fathers as well. Mothers, just women just running off. It's just become now a thing. Because in my case, that's what happened. You know, like my first wife had an affair, and I stayed with the children. So, and it wasn't now just me alone experiencing this. So I thought a book will be helpful for lots of people. People need to know that they're not the only ones going through this. And I thought my practices, because I believe, like, if a person, when this happens to you and you're not really ready for it, because no one's ready for it, but if you don't approach it well, if you just react to what's happening, that's when you get some people going the wrong way, because they might just start feeling like they want to take their lives, or going to severe depression, or some going to take drugs or alcohol. And I nearly went that way, but then stopping and pausing and becoming mindful of the situation made me take better decisions. I think I did make some mistakes still. I still made lots of mistakes along the way, but I think I made better decisions than I would have had I not been more mindful of the situation and taken my time to proactively think instead of just reacting. So I thought people would need something like that.
Okay. So let me ask you, you did mention about the fact that you're a black single dad. So therefore, in terms of people of color or dads of color, I guess you didn't meet many dads of color, or if you know about that statistics, well, you know, you may have mentioned it. But I don't know if you had any specific statistics like that. But what kind of as this is, you know, about mindfulness, and we're in a group called Mindfulness for People of Color. And let's think about single dads of color. What sort of specific advice from your experience now and having written this book would you want them to get from your book? And is there something specific in it that you would want to sort of, you know, tell them, you know, about this experience?
Yeah, I'd like them to know that, firstly, they're not alone. That number is growing, like of us single dads, black single dads, people of color, and there is help. There's that African saying, if you go alone, you will go far. So if you go alone, you go fast. But if you go together, we go far. So there's lots of help. There's groups. around. In the book, I do mention some groups like Dad's House, Dad Up, and single. On Facebook, there's a group for single Black fathers, fathers with daughters, so chatting with those people and finding out their experiences and learning from each other definitely helps a lot. I found that way, that, it made me realize I'm not the only one. And as I said, there is this narrative that especially that Black men are deadbeat, but we can change that narrative. And we do. There are many good Black fathers that many people don't talk about. I mean, the media will never talk about it because it's not worthy of a story. It's nice when they talk about some father that's just abandoning his kids and going on and having more children. That's more interesting for them. But if you're a Black man and you're going through these things, just continue, because we are setting a fine example for our children. And also, my advice would be continue practicing like mindfulness. Because whatever decision you make, even if it means falling in love again with someone else, just be mindful as well. Don't just rush into relationships because you've just come out of one. Take the time, because that's what I've found out, to take the time to heal and see what went wrong. It's not always the other person's fault. Yes, in my case, the first time I thought, oh, yes, it's her fault. She ran off with this guy and everything. But could there have been things that I did as well that probably pushed her to someone else? I had to look at it and see, maybe, yes, certain things I need to work on. And so I would say definitely practice mindfulness. Look after yourself as well. Live life. Don't just think this is the end. Because by being mindful, you will become aware that everything changes. Like we did our hands. Sure, many years ago, my hands might have been very smooth, but now they're not so, because things change. I'm getting older. Except the afro, it's gone. Trees that we see now, they change with the seasons. Everything's changing. So our situation right now too, as single fathers, will change. Children will grow older. And you'll have the time again to live your life. It's not like, oh, I'm stuck with the children. No, they will grow older and you will be free again. And you might find love with someone else as well. Or you can just be, if you just want to be free forever, you can go travel around the world. Work on yourself. Go to the gym. Like what I did, I started running. Do lots of creative things. And the situation doesn't define you.
Okay, thank you. So, Peter, thank you for that. We're actually coming up very soon to the end of our talk this evening. So, I'd just like you to just to want to share with the audience what it is that you would like, information about where they can get, details of your book, or where they can purchase your book, or where they can get any of that inspiring work that you've done. I think you've published other books. So tell them a bit more about how they can get hold of that.
So this book, Single Dads, You've Got This. You can find it on Amazon. And the other one, Go Get Summa Dat, as well as Diamond Diaries. They're also all on Amazon. So if you just type Peter Edwards, Go Get Summa Dat, Summa Dat spelled SUMMADAT, Go Get Summa Dat, or Single Dads, You've Got This. And they'll find it there. And they can also get in touch with me if they want to. I've got a channel on Instagram and Facebook called Get Summa Dat as well. And on there, I share always inspirational posts. Could do with meditation, or it could do with just anything I find uplifting. I try to do it daily, but can't always do it, but often do it. So anything inspiring, because I think the world needs lots of inspiration, and they say motivation's got to be done. You know, we motivate ourselves every day and inspire ourselves every day, because we don't just bath once or take a shower once and think we're clean. We got to do it all the time, all the time, all the time. So it's good to keep on getting ourselves inspired all the time. And so I'm hoping that this book will inspire lots of people and make them aware that they're not the only ones. And whatever challenge, it doesn't matter. They don't have to be single dads, because I've actually had some girls at work buy this book and just bought it because they just want to understand what the single father goes through. And some just wanted to buy it for somebody else, for a relative, you know. So it's, in life we go through many kind of challenges. When I grew up, I had different kind of goals, and as I was trying to achieve them, sometimes it didn't, I failed. And then learning how to cope and fight to still keep on going is what's that same principle is what got me through being a single dad. And so I'm sure this book here, you don't have to be a single father, but anybody that's just going through a challenge will find it helpful to see that any obstacle we face, any challenge we face, we can overcome it. It's possible.
Okay, wonderful. Yes. So it's, as you say, it's a useful book, and it's really for everyone, anyone who's a parent, really, because the practices in it can be used by single parents. You know, in general, you know, their mindfulness information that's in there. So yeah, and as Peter said, you can purchase his books on Amazon, and you can find him also on Instagram and Facebook. So you can reach him in several ways there. So, Peter, we're going to close this evening with a brief practice from you. You said you're going to share a mindfulness practice with us that others can use as well. So, yeah, are you ready to do that?
Yes, certainly. Thank you.
Okay, then. Okay,
This is
go ahead.
thank you. This is a mindfulness practice called the loving kindness meditation, or in its Sanskrit name is called the Metta Bhavana, which means love and kindness. And I found this very helpful, especially like when dealing with my ex. We had a few problems, lots of problems. And to take her to court, it was a massive thing. And for a moment, for a while, she was one of the most people that gave me so much grief. But learning that sometimes in life, you've got to let go of stuff. They say, let go or be dragged. When things go wrong, you don't go with them. I think Elvis Presley said that. So this practicing the Metta Bhavana helped me to become more mindful of myself and other people. And you have that love and kindness for everybody, just humanity. And so how it starts is the first section, think of yourself, and you think of all the emotions, you think of yourself and you start feeling that emotion of love and kindness for yourself. And as you think, you wish yourself, you say to yourself, may I be happy, may I be well, and may I be free from suffering. And then you think of the second section, you think of a close friend. And that's normally quite easy because everybody's probably got a very close friend. And then you wish your friend as well, may they be happy, may they be well, may they be free of suffering. And then the third section, you think of somebody that you don't really know well. Could be maybe that lady that you meet at the shops, the one that behind the till, or maybe the guy down the road that you meet every day on your way to work and you just say hello to, but you don't know their name. And that's also a human being, just like you, go through the same emotions we go through. So we wish them love, kindness, happiness. In the fourth section, we think of a difficult person in our lives, the person that we are really struggling with. Could be maybe a person at work we don't get along with, or in my case, it was the ex-wife. So we think of that person and we wish them as well. May they be happy. May they be well. And may they be free of suffering. So I'll just give a little brief demonstration of it because I'm mindful of the time as well. So firstly, as we start, sit, make ourselves comfortable. And we have like a check-in with ourselves. Check in with yourself. And ask yourself, how am I feeling? What am I thinking right at this moment? And then you can either close your eyes or keep them open. As we feel our feet, I'm not wearing shoes at the moment, so that's cool. And I can feel the floor. And if you can wiggle your toes, feeling every sensation as your toes touch the floor. Feel the hands on my lap. Hands are clasped together, feeling. I notice my breath as I'm breathing in and out. And I know for some, it's difficult to think of themselves in a loving manner because it's for various reasons. I too struggled in the beginning to love myself. I used to have so much low self-esteem. But what might help is if we think of ourselves as that little kid we once were, that maybe 5-year-old, 4-year-old, that cute little boy or little girl we were. And so much information we were given or so much we learned, but all that we knew, most of it was shaped by what other people had told us. We were basically acting on information that we were given by those around us. Some of it was good. Some of it was not so correct because it was based upon what the people knew at that time. And so we made some decisions in our lives. Some of those decisions might have been not so right. And there was some consequences that we're not really proud of. But we've got to forgive ourselves because that's what we knew at that time. And that very same person, that cute little girl, cute boy, it's still us. We're the same person, but we've changed. And so wish ourselves, may we be happy. May we be well. And may I be free of suffering. And then we can do that for about, say, 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, and then we think now of a close friend. Very close friend. Someone that we really, really love. Doesn't have to be someone we're in a relationship with. It's just someone that we so connected with. This person understands us. And this person, they too were once young. They made mistakes too. But we love them anyway for who they are, for how they get us. We understand them. They deserve love too. They've got someone that loves them just like you. So may they be well. May they be free of all suffering, free of pain. And may they be happy. And now, think of that person that you don't really know so well, the one that we always say hello to whenever we see them, or we give them the nod when we pass them by. That person goes through same things we go through, maybe even worse. We don't know their situation. They could be a single parent. Maybe they don't have any children, but they've got challenges in their lives too. We see them, they smile, but we don't really know what's going on in their lives. May they be well. May they be happy. And may they be free from all suffering. think of that difficult person in our lives, the one that we can't stand, the one that whenever we think of it, just so many negative emotions come up. But that person not too was once a baby, a young person. They were influenced by other people. They've got paradigms that were brought onto them through, could have been teachings of religion or parents, and they're behaving the way they are. They're projecting what they know. That's all they know. But there is somebody that loves them too. They are somebody's best friends. They've also got challenges in their lives. May they be well. May they be happy. And may they be free of all suffering. You know, we think of everybody we've just thought of, the difficult person, the person we don't know, our closest friend, and ourselves. Think of all of us together, and may we all be well. May we all be happy. May we all be free of all suffering. And we think of the general world, the people, in all these places where there's war, over in Gaza, in Ukraine, everywhere around the world where there's suffering. May these people all be well. May they all be free of suffering, and may they all be happy. Thank you. And I personally found that to be so helpful. Doing it often, it just opened my heart to so many people and understood my ex so well and everybody else. And I just think that they made it possible for us to now have a good relationship where we couldn't before understand each other. You know, we just hated each other. But now I'm able to say the children are happy because it's the children first. It's not about me or her or anybody else, but I think that's where some people make a mistake. Single parents. I've seen on some Facebook groups, fathers, they're fighting with their ex still after so many years, and they're still fighting over visitations and stuff like that, which they don't need to. All they just do is just be a bit more mindful and just be considerate of the other person as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Thank you for that beautiful metta meditation. Yes, it's one that I actually love, and I actually do that one quite regular myself. So yeah, I enjoy that. Yes, so as we're going to close now, would you just like to leave with one message that you would want your listeners or anyone who's going to read your book before we close?
Okay. It's let me just see. Probably I'll just close with let me see. I'll just quickly get a saying here by Aziz Fahim. It says, "Be kind to yourself. It's the best medicine to heal and grow." So the message is just be kind to yourself, be mindful, practice kindness, and you just find yourself so much happier, free, and you become a better person. And as a parent, that is amazing, because once you become a better parent, you become the children thrive as well.
Okay, well, thank you, Peter. Thank you for coming in this evening to be with us and sharing and presenting your fabulous work. And, you know, thank you for taking the time as well to do that writing and to share that information. As you said, it's not really something that's very popular. You know, not a lot is known about the experiences of single dads. So really, I really, to be commended on actually taking the initiative to actually write a book like that. So well done. And yeah, I hope, good luck with the book, and I hope it goes really well.
Thank you so much, Zindika. Thank you. Thank you to you and to William and to everyone behind the scenes. Thank you so much.
Okay, so have a good evening, Peter.
Thank you. Have a nice evening as well.
Thanks.